Hi again, this is Dave Dahl from Martin Guitar. Welcome to another edition of Pro Tips. Today, I'd like to put an issue to bed. It's something that I've been approached about, and the wording comes out all the time. People come up and say, hey, I want to try out your new coated strings. Not coated. You know, it's like when you have a brand name of a product and you just think that that's just the name of the product, like, you know, a Band-Aid or something like that. Not all strings that last longer are coated. Our strings are treated, and there's a very, very big difference between coated strings and treated strings. So let's see, how can I explain this? Well, you may notice that I have a rubber glove and some hand sanitizer here, but we'll get to that. First thing I want to kind of talk about is mass density. What is that? Well, it's just basically the overall density of the string and how extra mass on a product or an object can affect it, right? So as a string starts to corrode, the vibration sort of slows down, the tone kind of goes away. It can even affect the intonation a little bit because of how the scale length and everything kind of works together. So you want to try to avoid all of that stuff. A coated string, for example, adds mass to the string. It's actually putting something on the string that affects the vibration and the tonality of it. So you're in effect kind of choking off the string a little bit. So with doing a treated string, you want to do the exact opposite of that. You want to make sure that the string is able to breathe normally and vibrate and do everything that it can, like a normal string can. So to this illustration, if I have a rubber glove, you put this on, my hand still functions like a hand, right? It still does everything that it's supposed to do. I can pick up this pack of Lifespan strings, for example. I can point at my Martin Owners Club shirt. But what I can't do is I can't feel my fingers. The little nuances of stuff that my nerve endings and everything in my skin can actually do, I can't feel any of that. So it's still functional, but not as perfect as I'd like it to be. So you have hand sanitizer, right? Does the same basic thing as a rubber glove does, just keeping all of the germs and everything off of your hand. If I take some of this and put this on here, rub it in, I can still feel my hand. It's still doing the job. I can still feel my fingers, right? So all the nuances of the packaging or anything else that I'm picking up, the material, I can feel all of that. So I'm not losing out on all the subtle nuances and everything. My hands are still reacting the way hands are supposed to react. So that's really the easiest way that I can kind of explain the difference between coated strings and treated strings. So the second point that I'd kind of like to make about our Lifespan strings, we've been making these strings for a while now, but we'd like to say that these are new and improved. And what exactly does that mean? Well, not saying that the strings that we were making a couple years ago are bad in any way, but as we do things, we obviously learn some things about them and we find new ways to make them a little bit better. For example, we found that the combination of high carbon steel and copper, the relationship between those two metals is pretty corrosive. So when you're doing the treatment, you want to make sure that the treatment penetrates down to that level to kind of slow that and maybe even stop that from happening, to stop the corrosion not only on the surface and protect the wrap wires from your hands, but also kind of protect the metals from each other. The other thing, all 6 strings have the treatment. That's always been, but just want to make sure that everybody understands that all 6 strings, the wrap strings and the bare wires, all have the treatment on them. So the string is actually being protected from the inside out. So really the idea behind these Lifespan strings with the new and improved treatment on them, and again, the difference between a treated string and a coated string for the last time, the idea is to make these strings perform as naturally as possible, like a string that doesn't have any treatment, no coating, no anything. It's just basically a naked string to get that performance and feel out of it, but still have the longevity to be able to play these strings for a longer amount of time. So if you haven't had a chance to check these strings out, or if you've played them before and you think you're familiar with them, again, they are new and improved. So go out, grab a couple sets, throw them on your guitar, take them for a spin. We think you'll be impressed.